All right, almost bang on time, 2 p.m. on September the 16th, 2022. This is a very interesting topic to all of us, including me, my bookkeeping team. We all really enjoy doing this topic. So I'm going to try and talk as much as I know about how important is Law Society bookkeeping compliance and how much time is it going to take for you all to do this, whether it's as simple as 10 minutes or as difficult as 3 hours or you're somewhere in between. Let's see how you can efficiently do this process while doing your bookkeeping for your practice. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Gayatri. Many of you here know me. I'm from uLaw Client Success Team. I'm presenting this topic as a 1-hour CPD session, and it's available for professionalism CPD credits. I request all of you to take a screenshot of this topic name or this topic slide right in front of you all. It's Law Society bookkeeping compliance. That is the topic for today's session, and it's available for a 1-hour CPD credits. Before I get started, I'd like to let you all know that I'm having a little sore throat today. I'm trying to sip on some hot green tea here, but I'm also, in case you're finding it hard to hear me or something, I request you all to dial in using the phone coordinates that's available here on the chat window. I request you all to also let me know on the chat if there's any issues so that I can turn on my volume maybe a little more. Awesome. So here we are. Now, as every other webinar that we do every Friday, this webinar also has a set agenda. But what are we going to see in this session is more of bookkeeping compliances that is laid out by Law Society across various provinces, but uLaw is entitled to provide credits from our 4 provinces. That includes Ontario, British Columbia, New Brunswick, and Alberta. So if you're a part of any other province here, you might not be entitled for CPD credits, but please do stay back, as it's definitely a good, takeaway points as part of your bookkeeping compliances for Law Society purposes. So what we're covering in our agenda today includes the following. We're going to see how important it is to keep a track record of all the bookkeeping compliance needs that's required by Law Society across these regions, and what are certain opportunities that are available for you to improvise on maintaining these records or generating these records and maintaining them, and making sure that you are able to utilize the data that is entered into a respective program or data that you are manually keeping a track record, and based on that, how is it that you're able to generate these documents? And we're also going to see what are these important printouts or documents that are making sense to you as well as your client. But most importantly, our topic for today is being Law Society compliance. So we're going to see what Law Society as a regulatory body is requiring you as a legal professional to fulfill in order to have your bookkeeping up to date and compliant with their standards. So we start right through journals, ledgers, reconciliation documents, and other compliance documents like Form 9A, fee book, deposit slips, And we're also going to see how seamlessly you can keep a track record of these for your daily and monthly and yearly compliance needs. So like we all know that accounting systems has evolved over decades, and it's way too long that everything that started from our manual bookkeeping, manual data entry, manual double entry systems to what we have today as part of the legal accounting systems that we all at least are aware of. Some are already using, some are using uLaw, some are using different platforms, some are using they're still probably sticking to one of those simple Excel spreadsheets, or some could even keep it on their manual books. But I'm sure many of us have evolved along with these type of systems that you see here in front of my screen or in front of your screen, where there are several different kinds of accounting systems, right from manual data entry to legal accounting today. We have evolved along with the bookkeeping system. Whether you use manual entry or a spreadsheet, simple spreadsheet, or a trust accounting software, or only a general accounting software, it doesn't matter. But I'm sure you would have chosen something that is affordable to you, that is understandable to you, that is something that is easily accessible for you. So make sure that you know that Law Society has asked you to maintain these books and system, follow a system where you can record all of these transactions, and you're able to log in from anywhere, and from where it all started with doing a paper pen method of bookkeeping to where we are today, sitting on our couch and doing book data entry sometimes. It's pretty simple, where today's legal accounting software allows you to manage data from anywhere. So considering all of this, you may have chosen a platform, or you may have chosen a system, keeping in mind that each bank's account, depending upon your trust or general, that you are able to maintain and record or keep a track record of these obligations that's set out by Law Society. And today, most law firms have at least one general account and one trust account. Some go without trust account, but at least you have one general account where you maintain relatively all the data, the receipts that come in, the payments that goes out, the debits and the credits are being maintained, the disbursements and the expenditures are being recorded. Basically, in a nutshell, what money comes in and what money goes out of your bank account needs to be recorded in a very due diligent manner. So I know now the definition for due diligence is pretty, versatile. It's we all call due diligence in our own terminology. One could have a due diligence doing every other night before they hit the bed. One could do it every week. One could do it every month. Some people even do it once a year. Don't get shocked, okay? But I have seen people who have sometimes let the reconciliation slip through, sometimes taken over. Some things could have taken over the reconciliation part for it. But ultimately, the motive behind Law Society laying out these principles are very simple. They want to make sure that your money and your client's money don't get mixed. They are being maintained with proper records. They are being reported to the client as well as to the Law Society, saying, hey, see, this is what I have in my trust as on today. This is what I have in my general account as on today. These form part of my client's money, and these form part of my firm's money. So maintain clear track record of what is coming in, going out. So for that, you are being tested, you are being recommended to use a specific method of system or type of system, adhere to it, stick to it, try to spend some time on whichever method you're doing, because end of the day, the responsibility of data entry is still with you, irrespective of the system or the method that you're using. The intervention could be more or less depending upon the system you're using, but you are responsible for the data entry you make, because it's only you who know who pays you. It's only you who knows what you're paying out of your bank for, what is their purpose. So you can only make the track record, you can only make the system be successful with creating the documents for you. So you could use any system like uLaw to generate outputs for you. These ledgers, these journals, these reconciliation statements, trust listing. I can go on with any number of Law Society compliance documents that Law Society wants you to generate every month, every quarter, every year. But if I or my system needs to generate these documents for you, you will have to do the data entry. You will have to hire somebody who does the data entry. But the ultimate motive here is to make sure the system has the data in it. So once you have all the data entered into the system, you will be able to generate these documents that represents the data you have entered. So now, what are these documents? What do they show? What are you entering? It's pretty straightforward that Law Society wants typically 2 plus 4, 6 plus 2, 8 plus another 2 to 3, which is about 10 to 11 documents that are required for you to be generated on a monthly basis. Those are called monthly compliance documents from Law Society. So when you are required to generate these documents, now what are these documents called, and what does this consist of? Every transaction typically you enter has a debit, has a credit. We all know that the money comes in, goes out, and it needs to be recorded in one of the two ledgers, or sometimes even both, where the same client can have trust transactions and the same client can have general transactions too. Some of the clients could pay you partially into trust account, and once the work is done, some can pay the remaining into the general account. So for such clients, you are having to generate both trust plus general ledger. Now, if you use a program like uLaw, you are able to generate these two ledgers typically in just one document that is called client's trust plus general ledger. However, it is no harm in having them separate. And this is done for each and every client to showcase what they had paid into your trust and what was disbursed from your trust for the work you did, or for the disbursements you owe to some third party, or to yourself because you've paid it from your general account. So the following samples from Law Society demonstrates the trust and general ledger. If you clearly see in this ledger here, you are able to see certain details that the auditor prefers to take a look at. It shows you the date on which the client actually paid you some money. It shows you the reason why they paid, whether it was a retainer or whether it was any other trust payment. Like, if you're a real estate lawyer, there could be some mortgage advances or closing funds that comes into the trust account, and that is eventually disbursed. And there could be, if you're a SABS or a personal injury lawyer, you would see money coming into trust again, settlement payments. So there could be different types of payments that come into your trust. Very important to categorize those payments so that you are telling your auditor right in the front that, hey, this was a mortgage payment, or this was a retainer that was paid to me, or this was a settlement payment. So depending upon the category, you will have to enter the particulars, and that is also seen here on the client's trust ledger. And eventually the amount. So the date, the reason, and the amount with a running balance is what you see in the client's trust ledger. And then on the right-hand side of the screenshot, you see this client's general ledger, where you got to see that name of the webinar, please. Sorry, I'm taking a pause here for the ones who have joined a little late. Let's be a little kind to them and share the details of the webinar. Hello all, once again, my name is Gayatri and I'm doing the webinar today for 1 hour CPD credits. The topic for today's webinar is Law Society Bookkeeping Compliance. I request all of you who've joined a little late to take a screenshot of this. And I'm already on the third or the fourth slide here, but we're talking about the importance of ledger, the importance of capturing the transaction details into the system you're using so that the ledger that you're generating is going to eventually show all of these details that Law Society and the auditor prefers you to show. So while I'm on the right-hand side of the screenshot here, that is client's general ledger, you can see there are a couple more columns which is additional, which is going to show you any expenditure that you have made on behalf of the client, which is showing under the general ledger because the disbursements are carried out when you are invoicing your client for both fees and the disbursements or the expenditures that you did on behalf of your client. Along with it, you also get to see the HST. If there is any item without HST, that will also be shown there. So these are typically what ledgers are used for, and it is clearly a document that shows the money in, money out, and the reason or the particulars along with the date and other amount details. So if this document can also be incomplete, if you have missed to add even a simple information, let's say the particulars just say money in instead of you specifying mortgage advance, or it could, if you've forgotten to add taxes to your fees, it could miss out the HST part, which is not seen in the billing to the client. So it is as important as it is for your data entry to be very clear and very concise and making sure you've captured all the minutest of the details into the program or the system that you're using. Now, that is about the ledger, the trust and the general ledger. So ledgers are a little higher view of what you're seeing in your system, while the next one is journals, where journals are a little bit more drilled down version of ledgers. You get to see a few more additional information there. These are records of, typically single activity. It could be either a receipt or a payment, and it could be for trust or general respectively. So while we saw only two ledgers, which is trust ledger and general ledger, here we are seeing 4 different documents under journals, which is again trust and general, but each of trust and general has 2 sets respectively, which is you have trust payment journal and trust payment or receipts journal and trust disbursements journal, and likewise general receipts journal and general disbursement journal. So whatever is the money that comes into your trust and goes out of trust is receipt and disbursement respectively captured as journal, and this likewise you also have the same records for general account. So leaving behind 4 different documents for you to submit to Law Society for compliance purposes. So now, what are the additional information that you see here on these records? Typically the date and the amount is the same, And again, the purpose of the funds or the particulars are also same. But what are the two other additional columns that you see here, like I also see here? For example, if you're taking the first screenshot, let's say the trust receipt journals, the top first left one that talks about the receipts journal, that is showing you two additional documents, if you can notice here, which is one is source of funds. Who is paying you this amount? Is it the client, or is it the client's family, or is it the client's friend, or is it the client himself? So you will have to capture the source of funds. Now, every bank typically gives you the record if it's an email transfer, who's paying you, or if it's a wire transfer, the details, and you will have to capture it into the system that you're currently using as to the source of funds. Now, Law Society and auditor definitely wants to see who paid you that amount, is because they don't want any errors or omissions in such type of transactions. Whether you have mixed it by chance, or there's any confusion, just to make sure that the source of funds are captured well, along with the method of payment. Like I said, whether it was an email transfer or a check or a wire transfer, or they paid using credit card. Today every program is integrated with a payment solution like LawPay, TD, etc. So where you can capture or collect the funds using even credit card as a method of payment. But whatever is the method of payment, it is important to capture them in the trust receipts journal. And you will also see that the same applies to the general receipts journal. So they're very, very similar. If you see received from source of funds and then amount, and the method is there for both trust receipt journal and the general receipts journal. While you look at the disbursements journals, the disbursement journal has a little bit more different, with the method of payment being the same, but you have other HST taxes paid and other particulars also included here in the disbursement journals. So depending upon the requirement for the Law Society, you have to just keep it a little bit in the mind while you're entering the transactions. What are the fields that gets generated in the document that I am submitting to the Law Society? When I download a receipts journal, I could see method of payment, I could see source of funds, I could see the purpose of funds. So and of course, the primary thing is the date. I would definitely say, if you ask me what is the important of all here, is the date. Make sure you don't mess up with the date. Try and put it on the same day or at least the next day, so that you're not too far behind with the dates, and you're able to cover all the information. So your whatever is required by the Law Society is ultimately entered there. So that is about journals. So we have so far seen 6 documents, but 4 of them are already journals, like I said, and 2 of them are ledgers. Now, what are the 2 other important documents? Actually, it's one trust bank reconciliation statement, but we also, some of them don't have trust. They might have only general. General is also part of, general reconciliation is also part of compliance, other compliance documents. But trust is one of the most important reconciliation documents. And what is it that you will have to do to generate this document? Very, very simple manner to follow these 4 steps that you see here on the screenshot, making sure you are recording the transactions on time, you're recording the right amount, date, particulars, the method of payments, everything has been captured, so that when you are trying to verify the statement from your bank with what you have entered in the system, it is basically nothing but ensuring the comparison between the 2 is correct and it has been entered without any mistakes. So which means with the balances per the bank statement that you are seeing on your bank statement should match with that of your program minus the outstanding check and plus the outstanding deposits. That is the reconciliation process where you take the balance as per the bank statement and match it with that of your system, but in between you have to make that all your outstanding checks, which means those checks that you have issued to a vendor or those checks you have issued to a client for refund of the payment has not been deposited yet into the bank or has not been cleared at the bank, and add or plus all the outstanding deposits, which means you have not yet deposited a few payments from your clients, which is probably not yet cleared in the bank, which is maybe you deposited it on 30th of September, but as on 1st October, only it gets cleared. So those are outstanding. And any bank errors, which means that the bank has made any error, they have debited your trust account instead of your general account with any charges. So ensuring all such details are captured and you are able to make the reconciliation without any issues. Now, it is as important as it is to also capture all the outstanding check details and all the outstanding deposit details so that you are able to make a list of them and submit it along with your trust listing in your trust bank reconciliation statement. Now, if you're using a program, again, it's pretty simple. These are automatically recorded if you're not clearing them while reconciling. They go under the respective buckets as these are outstanding checks, these are outstanding deposits, this is a bank error. Now, here is your reconciliation statement. So your job is only to literally compare the bank statement with what you have entered in your respective system, while if the system is really good and the system that you're using is probably the updated one, or in today's world we are all using legal accounting practice management softwares where the software or the program does the work behind, but your inputs are valuable for us to create the outputs. And the outputs are given to you like this on the right-hand side as what you're seeing with the trust bank reconciliation statements. So making sure that this activity consists of recording the bank balances as per the bank statement is very important for this exact date, which is called as bank date, and capturing or recording all your outstanding checks and deposits and any bank errors if there is, and ensuring at the end all your clients' trust listing. That is the step 3, ensuring all the clients with whom you have balance remaining in trust has been reported here in this statement, along with the trust comparison, ensuring that the total reconciled bank balance and the total unexpended balances from your client's trust ledger are matching. So these are all interconnected end of the day, but they all need to be properly entered with your data entry method or the system that you're using. Now that's about trust reconciliation. While I am also showing the next slide, which is other documents, which is fee book. We're going to talk about fee book, Form 9A, and a few other documents that are going to be helpful for you in your compliance, Law Society bookkeeping compliance. Now, what is a fee book? We are so used to recording invoices. We are so used to recording all the revenues that are being generated. But what is fee book capture? what does auditor want to know from this fee book, or Law Society wants to know from this fee book. So these fee book records are very simple. They are nothing but compilation of all your invoices to your clients for a specific period of time. But these invoices could include legal fees, could include disbursements, some with HST or PST or the respective provincial taxes, and some without the taxes. But ultimately, it is important to capture the invoice numbers, because invoices are raised with a specific serial number, which client was billed, and the taxes are also being shown in that invoice. So it is important for you to basically capture all these details while you're making an invoice, so that when this document, that is fee book, gets generated, it comes out with the right date on which you're raising the invoice number, followed by the client details, and the fees you have charged them, any disbursements if you have billed, and taxes and the total bill. Like you all see here as an example, fee book are just simple collection of invoices and disbursements raised to be recovered from clients. End of the day, the total billed amount is what is going to be moved to your general account if there is money in trust, or directly paid into general account if the client is paying into general for company, or paying on behalf of the invoice raised. Now, what are these? That is about the fee book. I know it's pretty simple, but fee book is also one of the important other compliance documents. Now, along with the other compliance documents, we are also going to see how Form 9A, deposit slips, client ID verification, and duplicate cash receipts are also playing its role. So we all know that when we move money from trust to general, some people move it in electronic form. Some people go into bank and do a bank transfer from trust to general. Some people just write a check from trust account to general account. There are different ways you get to do it. But one of the method of payment, which is electronic fund transfer, which is very frequently used by all of us because it's convenient. You just go in online to your bank, open your online banking, move money literally showing from trust to general, $500, and you're done in a jiffy. But what is it that can support this transaction that you made online is Form 9A. Electronic fund transfer requires Form 9A as a supporting document where you are moving money from trust account to general account electronically. So this document again is available in the program, in our program. You want less than a second. The moment you click transfer, it asks you whether you want to download this Form 9A. So once you download this Form 9A, it becomes part of your compliance document. So making sure that you have all data and information. Very importantly, your debit bank details and your credit bank details should be entered there, along with what was the reason for this transfer, whether you're transferring your legal fee, whether you're transferring for any disbursement, whether you're transferring for any other purpose. But making sure that you record these along with the requisition or the reference number being the top priority. I hope you're all able to see the reference screenshot in front of you. That's the first one that says Form 9A Electronic Trust Transfer. Sorry, we had to accommodate 3 or 4 of them in one screen here, so we had to align them in a different way. If you have to tilt your neck and see, I'm sorry about that, but that's the copy of electronic trust transfer requisition form. If you have not done that all these long, try to start doing it from today. And you can always go back and do it for last few months also. There's no harm. But try to collect as much information as possible into that document while you're generating it. Likewise goes for cash deposit slips and any duplicate cash receipts. All of these examples that you're seeing here, including client ID verification, one of my favorite forms, where it is used at preliminary stages while you're onboarding a client, ensuring his or her ID has been verified, and they sign this document for you. And this is completely going to be, very helpful for you in future when you're looking at the client ID details, and also that when you're going to submit it to Law Society as a bunch of documents, it is going to be one of the more substantiating documents showing that this is the client who you worked for, and this is the client for whom you collected such details, NID, and other necessary details. So these are other compliance documents. I hope we've covered so far, I think, 2 ledgers, 4 journals, so that by itself is 6 documents, and then 2 reconciliation documents, 8, and then 9 being Form 9A, and 10, 11, 12, 13 being other documents here. So we have about 12 documents, which is including fee book. We have covered these, and this is what you're looking to do within the first 10 minutes or the maximum 3 hours. So how fast can you be doing these? How fast, how efficiently? I shouldn't be saying fast. So fast is, we all want to do everything fast, right? I love doing my cooking really fast because it's not like that I don't enjoy it, but that's how I am. I just want things to be done so fast. But how can you make it very seamless and at the same time efficient? That is what we are looking at this slide for. So it's pretty simple, but when you look at it at a bigger aspect or a bigger perspective, we all think, oh, it's bookkeeping, it's too much of data, it's too much of numbers. I think from my childhood I had this aversion towards numbers, but look where I am teaching you all accounts, right? So just kidding. Every entry, every transaction, take it one step at a time. Everything needs to be maintained in an order in which you definitely need to keep a record of it. If you don't like keeping physical copies, no worries. Once you have an invoice or once you have a receipt or once you get any document that pertains for you to keep a track record, scan them and put them in your drive. At most, what you can do is keeping records of what you have to be maintaining, and you have to be keeping a copy or evidence of. So every entry is a double entry, which means that you need to know what to record, where it touches, whether it's a cash account, whether it's a trust account, whether it's a general bank account, whether it's a client who's paying you, or whether you are paying the vendor, or whether it is you are transferring the money from trust to general to pay yourself. All of these needs to be categorized well. You need to run it in your head a moment before you take any action. Sometimes the same information can be recorded in 2-3 different places. You can duplicate the transactions. You might enter it as cash because you're receiving the retainer as cash. But ultimately, the same day or the very next day, you're depositing it in bank. So you need to move it from cash to bank. Only then that double entry is going to look like it is not being duplicated. It's not like you are recording the retainer as client A to cash account and then again client A to bank account. It is then cash to bank. So you have to eliminate the client when you're moving the money from cash to bank, right? So ensuring these informations are recorded just once, but making sure that you follow your bank, you follow the money. That is what I would say. That is what my boss also always says. He says, follow the money. If you follow the money, there is no way you're going to make a mistake. You are following the money. When the client pays you, go ahead, enter it in the respective account. And when you invoice the client, you are now eligible to move the money from the same trust to general, or you're directly able to get the money into general. So very seamless accounting because you follow the money and you immediately record it. You are able to translate what has happened in the real life scenario to what is happening in your accounting system now, or what should happen in your accounting system now. That is when your reconciliation process is going to look super simple. Because just imagine you adding debits, adding credits. What more do you need? You're going to be able to identify the outstanding checks. You're going to be able to identify the outstanding deposits. You have the bank statement with you. You have the balance with you in the system you're using. I think that's all you guys need. You are able to record the data. You are able to automatically maintain the ledgers and the journals from events you have recorded. And the workflow just seamlessly helps you to complete the reconciliation with the bank records or the statements which you already have with you. So, like I said, reconciliation might sound big, but it is what it is. We have to do it if that is the part of your compliance for Law Society. But if you are someone who's disciplined, who's religiously following their bank and the money and the transactions, I think then for you, the accounting is going to be super simple. The reconciliation is going to be very, very well maintained or well done. And there's no way you could commit errors, because committing errors are, more when you are not following what is happening. That is in a simple layman language, where if I could put it that way, if you all don't mind, that preventing errors are actually easier if you are maintaining your books on a day-to-day basis. Now, don't ask me, Gayatri, so you mean to say, should I go back to my system every day? I'm like, if that is what it needs, that is what you will have to do. If that helps you to maintain your records on a daily basis and help you to record the transactions on a daily basis, why not, right? Now, yes, I know that I've spoken a little bit about, maintaining these, what are these documents that are required for Law Society, and what are these documents talk about or signify, and how do you generate them, and how do you create them, and how efficiently and how smoothly can you run the show without having to make any errors, without worrying about how to do it, following your money, following your transactions. I think automatically everything else will fall in place. Now, a little bit benefit about using a legal accounting software. I know we all started off with saying how the accounting systems evolved from a manual double entry bookkeeping systems to software, spreadsheets, and now we are here where legal accounting software is going to definitely turn around the world for you. It's going to make things look much simpler, easier, at the same time competitive, because recording information should not be centric to just recording it in one place or so. But while you're using a legal accounting software, the inputs that you give at one point is somewhere multiplied, bifurcated into the respective records, financial records, because the information that I'm entering in a client's trust ledger is also used in journal, is also used in fee book, is also used in my invoices, is also used in my revenue statement, is also used in my P&L, is also used in my balance sheet. Now, that is how simple using a legal accounting software can help you, even though just imagine you recording these events or data in a simple spreadsheet, but end of the day, that spreadsheet still stays there. It doesn't get converted into documents. It doesn't get converted into the Law Society compliance documents or any other, even a simple invoice. You will still have to take the data from that spreadsheet and put it in another document for you to create that record or financial record. While you're using a legal accounting software, your input is just done or given once, and we or any other program does the rest of it. But finally, it's all about capturing data, accounting it, recording it, and then using it easily and making sure we are still compliant with what we have to be doing as per the Law Society guidelines. Now, I just want to show you all a simple, what do I say, like a checklist that we have as part of uLaw's slide sharing. If you go online, you would be able to see this, but I just want to show you what is the purpose of all of this, maintaining this records or keeping a track of these records. Why is it that Law Society compliance so important? So I know now many of you could have heard about the word audit, especially Law Society audit. How do you get ready for it? How could you be proactive in taking measurements or detect what could be a problem and find a solution to make sure you are audit ready? That is the kind of confidence one should carry if you are practicing on your own, or even if you are assisting somebody who's practicing on their own, ensuring that all the documents that we just spoke about, these 10 to 12 documents, are of high importance to make sure all of these, data has been captured and is ensured that it is in accordance with Law Society compliance and requirements. That is going to be finally audited by an auditor who is definitely looking for the integrity of your firm in terms of financial billing and other records that you're maintaining for each and every client, for your business expenses, for your other disbursements. But end of the day, when you have a review, the firm is able to manage its data with a clear structure, and you're able to bifurcate that these are the accounts that are business related and these are the accounts that are client related, and end of the day you're able to clearly differentiate and show them under the respective journals, ledgers, reconciliation statements, listings, so on and so forth. So management, there should be clear management of accounts as well as client management, where you're able to record all the information of dockets, all the information that you want to be showing in an invoice, and you want to be ensuring that all of these non-engagement letters and etc. These are also forming part of Law Society compliance documents, but there could be Law Society bookkeeping compliance, which we spoke for last 45-50 minutes, and there are also other Law Society compliance that forms part of these practice, and there can be monthly documents which you download. There can be, like I said, quarterly and yearly updates that you provide to Law Society, you provide to your clients, making sure right from the time you handle a retainer letter to the time you give them a closing letter, you have followed each and every single step with keeping in mind compliance behind it. So it's very simple to collect a retainer and not issue a receipt, or missing out to issue a receipt. But is it compliant? No. You are supposed to issue receipts each time you handle a retainer or any client payments, making sure you have mentioned in it the date on which the client pays you, the time, at least the date, the method of payment, the amount, and and the reference numbers. These are certain small things that can make a big difference, and making sure you have a track record of all of these details, and ultimately it comes as part of your your checklist. So when you come to the checklist, again, if you're all seeing the screen here, please take a screenshot or go to SlideShare and look for uLawPractice for checklist for Law Society compliances. You will see how important it is to maintain these practice management checklist. I think if you're all doing these properly, recording them, maintaining the records, I'm sure there's nothing more that you will have to do, because ultimately it's about client and matter management and keeping a good track record of dockets and details of the dockets and how the retainers were paid or collected, handling the client fees, and providing regular updates to the client with invoices or receipts or trust and general ledgers, and making sure all the letters have been kept or maintained. Likewise for matter management, whether the matter or the file is active or closed or archived, they're whole different. These are all very different when you compare it with bookkeeping compliance, but even though these help you to maintain the bookkeeping compliance. So make sure that the checklist that you are creating for yourself, or you follow the one from Law Society, or you have certain related to your business, certain related to your books, certain related to your clients, you're able to bucket them under the respective heads, and you are still maintaining them for each of them with due diligence. And also lastly, handling the trust in general is very important, making sure all of these ledgers that we discussed about, the other forms like Form 9A, the journals, and your reconciliation documents. And likewise for your general account, also you have certain documents to be completed, like fee book, revenue book, expense book, could be disbursement journals, could be general ledger, and then reconciliation documents. So there cannot be anything more than this while you are capturing the data at one point. But like I said, it gets distributed to different documents, and you're able to generate them without any issue, which is what I call a seamless accounting. So end of the day, you're able to maintain records of each and every transaction that we are now looking to probably talk regarding the practice management aspect of it, because when you're using a practice management, it definitely allows you to maintain these at one point system, right? So you're able to add it under the client's matter, and you're able to also produce it in the reconciliation statement and other documents that we discussed so far. So I am actually having 5 to 6 minutes remaining. So I'm planning to showcase you all how everything that we discussed here works in the program. So now here you have, we all know the ones using uLaw. This is the dashboard. Now I want to take up a quick example to show you how my documents get generated. So when you have a client, we all know we go to add new client and add their information, and then we get started with adding their matter details and get started. Now let's assume I'm quickly adding a new client. Let's say the client's name is Lincoln Park. I'm going to just save a little bit of time and skip adding all the other personal details of the client and open a quick matter for this client and start showing you how the journals work. Let's say this client has a simple traffic ticket file and it is coming under Highway Traffic Act. We should be able to categorize them so that your if I'm not able to see Highway Traffic Act, I'm putting it under provincial offenses, and I have all my other rates and details entered here. So now very smoothly you start adding information. So there could be compliances that are not bookkeeping related, but those are still law society compliances, like we saw about other compliance documents, which is client ID verification, retainer letter, client intake form. These are all, and then checklist. These all could be, these documents could be generated at any time at the beginning of the files or at the intervals when and there you require it to. Now, just to save again a little bit time, I want to show you the exact thing of, let's say the client is coming in, walking into the office and paying a quick, retainer to start with. Let's say I'm paying a retainer of, my client is paying a retainer of 500. The check they gave me was, the number was entered, and then it was the client himself who paid this amount. Give the client a receipt and apply it. So once the retainer has been entered, the lawyer begins the work. Let's say they are doing a flat fee legal fees. So partial work completed and partial billing is done. So they're entering the partial billing here. And if there is any disbursements, they're adding a disbursement. I want to show at least one general disbursement journal entry here. So let's say they have given out photocopies or courier, and it was charged $20 plus taxes, and that is what was also charged to the client at Staples or somewhere that they went out and printed all the pages for, and they use the company's debit card. And if there is a reference number, try to add as much as information as possible. Now everything is added here, and now the client is going to be invoiced. Once you invoice, you will see that the details are being captured at various places. That includes client's trust ledger, client's general ledger, depending upon which are the accounts that was utilized here, or that was rather touched. So now in this case, I have a legal fee here entered. So the general account is going to be affected here. And again, photocopy. So the general disbursement journal is going to be affected here. And the retainer was received. So the trust ledger is going to be affected here, and you see the total with the balance sitting in trust. So now if you go back and do a simple trust plus general ledger statement, both ledgers together, you get to see what was paid in trust and what is billed, so what is due into general account so far. And the moment you transfer the amount that is due into your general account, this gets transferred and it is recorded in the general account clearly. So you'll just see that now. You transfer this $305.10. Let's say you did it in the bank and the bank gave you this number, and you're recording it, downloading Form 9A. Remember the respective electronic fund transfer requisition form that we discussed about under other forms for Law Society compliance is this Form 9A, which is here. Once that is done, you go back to Matter, and now you download the same Trust Plus General Ledger, and you will see that the $305.10 is not outstanding anymore. It has now become zero, while the previous time it was showing an outstanding of $305.10. Because I have moved out of the 500 in the trust after billing the client into the general account. So this is what a trust and the general ledger signify. It shows that it is all recorded with the details such as the check number, the description, the photocopies, any method of payment, purpose, date, and amount. And so if you go into accounts, lastly, I'd like to show how the monthly compliance works in a program like uLaw. Everything is available in one click button. Now let's just see this quickly. Let's say client's trust receipt journal for today's date. You will now see, you can also do it for client or respectively for one client also. So let's say this client's name is Lincoln Park that we just did. I want to just download for Lincoln Park the client's trust receipt journal, and you see how it gives you the source of funds, who paid it, and what was the matter, file number, the purpose for the funds. The client gave me a retainer. Remember I said retainer uncollected, and lastly, the method of payment. So this is what Law Society expects from you. This is what is part of the compliance for bookkeeping. And I don't think there could be anything more than capturing the data real time and capturing the data with extensive details, as you see here, from date to source to the file number to the purpose of funds. Now, how much time did I take? I literally came into uLaw 6 minutes ago, and I could have everything for you in less than 6 minutes that Law Society wants. In fact, in another 2 minutes, I could generate all of these documents and show you. But unfortunately, since we're running out of time, I request you all to try it out at your end, making sure that you are compliant and ready for Law Society bookkeeping. And any questions beyond this, I'd like to open the floor for maybe a couple minutes for discussions. I'm going to be hanging out here, checking out the chats, and I'll just to cut short of the recording, I am going to say thank you to you all for being here with us today, for supporting us, for attending this webinar, and I'm going to stop the recording so that any questions I can take on the chat or I can even discuss here. I'll be more than happy. Thank you. Thank you once again. We have a great topic next week. I request all of you to probably sign up for the webinar. It's going to be talking about different features about uLaw, a new topic that we're introducing, and please stay back for any questions. I'm going to be checking out the chat window, and I'm stopping the recording here. Thank you once again.